Good morning and welcome to another episode of Distance Learning 101 here on ABC WTVA. I'm Greg Ellis, and today we have an extended guest show with Holly Allgood and Clarissa McLean, both of ECEC special ed teachers, and we are going to address our special ed needs this week and things that parents can do at home. Well, thank you all so much for being here. What are we going to learn today? What is the goal with you two?
We just thought that we would talk to y'all about what parents maybe have fears about or things they can do at home. Ms. McCain's going to give us a lesson about feelings and emotions. It's just so important right now when kids are going through a pandemic and they don't even understand what's going on. Their world's shut down, schools shut down, daycares have shut down. We're not going to restaurants anymore.
Right.
We're not getting to play outside with friends as much. And we just thought this story would be great, and just giving tips and hints and things to do at home to make learning fun.
Routines have been thrown out the door.
They have.
And for you, how important are routines for your students?
Oh, very much so. I think on a daily routine is a very important aspect of school and life in general,
Right.
inside and outside.
Okay, so we had, when the pandemic first hit, we had the distance learning module set up at home. Were you guys doing that with your students through Google Classroom or anything, or with it being ECEC, was it a little bit different?
I think ECEC did a fantastic job with it. I mean, I am partial to it, but Ms. Stewart did a great job leading us in that and making sure that the format was what we thought easy for parents to follow, to have resources at home that they could use, that parents weren't scared that, oh my goodness, I don't have
Right.
classroom resources. That learning is so much fun, and at this age, learning is everything. And I think ECEC did a great job making sure kids had what they needed.
So do y'all have Google Classroom?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so what kind of participation did you have with your students?
We in my classroom, we overall had a great participation. A lot of my students, their individualized instruction happened mainly through Google Meet, where
Okay.
it was me and the student working on specific skills.
You obviously you go to spring break, you come back, what you knew was the norm was thrown out the window education-wise, and you had to basically start from scratch. Is it more difficult with the younger students than, say, for a middle school student who probably is used to adapting to different things? These kids, I mean, they're learning school
Right.
already, and then boom, the world was turned upside down.
I think so, because at an early education level, it is more important hands-on.
Okay. I agree with that. All right. Well, we're going to get started, and you're going to start with the lesson, and then
Yes.
we're going to
Yes.
hear your input.
Okay. Today we're going to read the story I Am a Rainbow by Dolly Parton. And what we're going to do is we're going to focus on emotions and feelings. We're going to make an emotions chart, and I have an example with this. And this can be used throughout the day with students who are nonverbal or limited speech-wise. If they have difficulties expressing themselves, they can go back to this chart and point to or tell their parents, I'm feeling sad today, and go on from there.
So you use this in your classroom, but you encourage your parents to follow through at
Yes.
home with it. Gotcha.
Yes, sir.
That's
Yes, sir.
awesome.
And at school, we would focus on one emotion a day.
Okay.
Let's start with that.
All right. Little Dolly Parton this morning.
Yes.
Do we need some music?
Colors make up our whole world, everything we say and do, but did you know each boy and girl is made of colors too? And what we're going to do is each emotion identifies a color.
Okay.
So we're going to stop through each color, and you are going to create your own emotions
So
chart.
y'all love giving me homework or
We do.
class
Yes,
assignments.
we do.
Just don't make me draw people. Or speak Spanish. All right, so I'm going to do the emotion that's based on what you're reading.
Yes, and whatever
Okay.
you feel represents that emotion. When I'm tickled pink, it means I'm feeling dandy. Everything is great and as sweet as cotton candy. The little girl is smiling. What emotion do you think she's feeling?
Very happy.
Yes.
Do I need to draw a happy face?
Yes.
Is that a happy face?
Yes,
Yes.
looks great.
See, I can draw a stick figure like things.
And then our next is red. But guess what happens when my sister pulls my hair? Then I turn red. I'm as angry as a bear. See his face? He's angry.
Yeah, this is bringing back my kids when they were little. And that wasn't a fun time.
We may need to read this at my house.
Yes.
Perfect. Great job.
And during the school year and at home, you can stop and elaborate on each emotion. And if your child is verbally able to, they can tell you, oh, this is a time that makes me angry, or this is a
Gotcha.
time that makes me happy.
So you're expressing your feelings live.
Yes.
Basically.
Yes.
Okay.
If mommy says time out, I pout for a minute or two, then I get bored and sad, and I kind of feel blue.
So I'm getting the color thing now.
Yes. And the great thing about this book is there are so many other skills in this
Yes.
book. You hear rhyming. That is huge right now in pre-K, is to understand those rhyming words. And you can pick those out.
That's true. So there's my sad face. I don't have to sit in time out.
Sometimes I get jealous. Then I'm feeling green. That happens when I'm left out of a happy scene. And this picture shows a happy birthday party. And it shows us somebody not getting a present.
Wow. My own birthday party and I don't get presents.
And this also helps with social skills. Having those teachable moments.
Instead of a face, I'm going to do a question mark. If you come to my birthday party, why did I not get a present?
And that's such a good life skill in that. And that's one
It
of the
is.
things that we try to get our kids to understand is somebody's house may not look like your house.
Right.
So if they come somewhere and they don't have a present, it's okay. They came and you were celebrated.
That was the best present. with
That
them
was the best
coming up.
present that they
Exactly.
came.
When I'm feeling scared, kids call me yellow. But I can find my courage and be a brave fellow. He's scared.
Need to be my brows this time.
Yes.
And pupils.
You're doing so good with your pictures.
I'm going to graduate ECEC.
You are.
And we're back to pink. When we all play together, it makes me feel so cozy. My mood is joyful and everything is rosy.
Back to your rhyme words.
Right.
Yes.
Do
yes.
kids pick up on the rhyme quicker and it makes them remember things better?
When it's repetitive and we do it daily and they see it in different aspects.
Gotcha.
It's one of the hardest skills
Yes.
that we do.
Really?
It's a very hard skill for them because they have to be proficient, produce the rhyme.
Gotcha.
And
Okay,
that
makes
is
sense.
very hard. Our children have a great skill of listening to it and saying that does rhyme. We use a lot of thumbs up, thumbs down, those
Gotcha.
rhyme. Haggerty that we're using now at ECEC has helped so much with that. That's a
Awesome.
program that we've picked up this past year. So we've seen rhyming come easier for children this year.
Okay.
So remember as you go from hue to hue that each and every person has feelings too. It's not always up to you the way that you feel, but how you act is a different deal. So be a rainbow, shine above, and filter all your glow through love. It's nature's way, these colors you show, so simply say, I am a rainbow. And this would be a perfect opportunity that I would give at school, that it's okay to have emotions, it's okay to get upset, it's how we express those emotions.
Exactly. And that's not just limited to school-age
Yes.
kids. We as adults sometimes need this lesson.
Yes,
So,
sir. Yes, sir.
And that's going back to the routines. Having those routines, having children be able to have something to look forward to. And we are going to do this. You might not want to go to the grocery store
Right.
with me, but we have to go to the grocery store today, and then we will come do this. And
Gotcha.
setting those routines in place.
Now, with your special needs students, do you teach it different, or is it the same approach? What is the different style that you use?
It's the same approach. We just use differentiated instruction. Like for students who are nonverbal,
Okay.
to check for learning, I would give them a blue and say, can you match the blue with the sad face?
Gotcha.
And that way you're able to see if they were successful in the academic.
Because just because you're nonverbal doesn't mean
Exactly.
that you're not understanding the skill that's taught. I think the most thing that any special education teacher would tell you, or general ed teacher, you may think your child is different, but children are so much more alike than they are different. And just because your child doesn't learn the way that your neighbor's child learns or the sibling in your house learns, doesn't mean that you take away what you teach them.
Right.
You use how they learn and bring the same material. You just may teach it a different way, and that's why differentiated instruction is so important.
You're reaching
Perfect.
the child.
Right.
Perfect. All right. Well, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we'll dive into more with our emotions here on Distance Learning 101. Welcome back to Distance Learning 101 here on ABC WTVA. I am with Miss McCain, and it's all good. Special ed teachers at ECEC, and you just read us a great book. We've learned about our emotions and how to color coordinate with our emotions, which I love. I always like when you can place things together. I feel like it really helps you learning. And now we're going to kind of take it to a next level, common household items that we can use for a lot of different things.
Yes. I tell everybody all the time that environmental print is the most important thing at this age. And the greatest thing about it is your world is a full resource for
Right.
environmental print. You can take your child to the greatest place ever, McDonald's, get a Happy Meal, and you have taught a whole lesson in 5 minutes while eating lunch.
Right.
You can go over shapes, colors, letters, sounds. How did it taste? Your feelings about it. And you've used one trip, not that you even have to go to McDonald's, but it's just so important to have conversations with your child or children on the way to anywhere. How did we get here? What way did we turn? That's
They're so observant anyway, and now
It's just great life skills.
driving that observance.
Yes. So I brought some things from my house that my kids use daily.
Okay.
Well, we try to use daily, and it's summer, your routine's off. So if you put just a little bit into doing a small activity, it's made a whole thing, and it's not sitting at a table doing a worksheet.
You bring up a good point. Both of you can address this. Yes, it's the summer. It's been the extended summer because we
Right.
haven't been in school since, obviously we've had the distance learning, but technically they've not been in a school environment since March.
Right.
And now as we prepare for school to start, and again, yes, I know it's the summer, do you recommend that parents do something daily, even if it's 5 minutes, just to kind of
No doubt.
keep those skills in place?
Oh, for sure. I think it's really great for the child to have a set routine, and that routine may look different at school than home.
Well, yes.
And a certain amount of time a day, like you said, 5 minutes would be applicable for children, just to get some kind of academics in until
Right.
we go back.
No doubt. I think like reading is just so easy and important.
Right.
And Clarissa read a book by Dolly Parton, and she is just so big about reading to your children, and it doesn't have to be a Dolly Parton book. And if you don't have books at your house, you can go to the library and get one. You can use your phone and pull up
Yes.
a book to read.
There's so many free resources
Yes,
out there,
there
with
are.
that.
And like today, we mentioned emotions and feelings. Even if you pull up your cell phone and go over emojis with your child, and go over what each emotion is and emoji what it stands for, that would be
everyone's
great.
represented.
Yes.
on
They
there.
are.
Yes.
They are. I brought this book from home. It's called Max the Duck. It is a simple sight word book, one that we would use at ECEC.
Okay.
And the greatest thing about it is you can just talk about the book. Where's the cover of the book? The back of the book. Those are things that we teach at ECEC in whole group. Every day we go over that. The spine of the book. where's the title? Point to what is the illustrator? Who
Gotcha.
is the author? And you can have a higher order skill of a prediction just by looking at the cover. What would you think this book is about?
Duck.
A duck. And then you could say, okay, it's about a duck. What do you think the duck's going to do? What do you think this duck's name is? Max the duck. Those are just
Gotcha.
simple things right there that asking your children, they are so far prepared for the school year. It's just amazing the resource you've given your 4-year-old in going into school or
Now,
even a
I want you to
kindergarten.
explain something, just so make sure everybody understands. When you say a sight word book,
Okay,
kind of explain what you mean by that.
you want to do that?
A sight word book is a book that is a simple sentence. It will repeat words over and over. For instance, I or am.
Okay.
And those words are repetitive throughout the book, and that will help that child look at those words and see them in different settings and see and start making sentences with those words.
So while that child may not be able to read the book, he's identifying the words.
Yes.
Correct.
Okay.
I love the model I do, we do, you do. That is a great teaching tool to
Okay.
use with children. So at my house, we might read this book 2 nights in a row. And we would talk about it. We could talk about page numbers. And then
So you're incorporating a lot
you are.
into
I mean,
one
you,
simple
Yes.
book.
you've incorporated a huge day.
Numbers, colors.
Right, talking about what did Max wear. Just in this book right here, you have I am Max. Well, if your children know their letters and can identify the letter I, and we always encourage children to point to the word as they read it. So if
Gotcha.
you do that and model that, they're going to pick that skill
Exactly.
up. So I would read it, then the next night we might read it together. And every time I hit the word I could encourage them to say
Right.
that letter,
Right.
and they're understanding that that letter is a word.
Gotcha.
Then you would go through it. There's A. If they know the lowercase letter A, point to it and have them say it. It also keeps them paying attention to your book. Then asking simple questions at the end of it.
Gotcha. So you close the book and then you kind of do a review.
Yes.
Not a test.
Well,
but
they're
kinda.
actually called WH questions. Who was in the book? What did Max do?
Gotcha.
Where did Max go?
So they're learning without even realize they're learning.
They are. Learning is so much fun. And at this age, you can't have any more fun than just using household items.
And they want to learn at
Yes.
that. I mean, when they can identify words, they're going to get excited.
Yes.
And
Oh,
it's
they
going to encourage them, hey, I can learn a
go
different phrase.
further.
Yes.
And if you don't want to read that night, that's fine. You have a coloring book. This is a coloring book that my kids use at home, and you can see that it's been colored through. You can talk about coloring is boundaries.
Right.
Boundaries are so important in life that you can start out at this age. You have to stay within the boundary. Then that's a life lesson just within itself at school. And after you finished it, taking your scissors, cutting it out. Cutting is a huge skill. And then the dreaded of all is using glue.
For teachers.
For everybody at home, at school. But knowing how to be responsible with your glue is so important. We use glue sticks at ECEC.
Smart.
But sometimes they dry out, so we always have our backup. And just knowing how to be responsible with glue, that you don't have to squeeze so hard.
Right.
But gluing it on here, because you can take your emotions, and parents can take this with them. Like if your child is nonverbal or limited with skills, you can stick this in your pocket. Dad can take it, put it in your purse, you can take it to grandma's.
Restaurants.
And it helps you.
Absolutely. Now, a quick question. You're talking about cutting and letters. When they come to ECEC, where are they in that process? Do they know their letters? Do they know their numbers? Have they been introduced to scissors before, or is it a case by case?
It's really case by case. Students that we see and serve, sometimes they have services from outside sources.
Okay.
that have helped with those skills. Daycares are a great resource to have, and some really hadn't had exposure yet.
Gotcha. So this will be their first time.
Yes, sir.
So as a teacher, I mean, you're working with kids who have the skills, and then you got to
Right.
bring those who haven't been introduced to
Yes.
that up. How long does it take to kind of get that class balance out?
I don't know if you ever get everybody just all on the same page,
Right.
but you you close the
Close
gap.
the gap. Gotcha.
And the greatest thing about having a using differentiation instruction is your kids learn so much more from their peers. And so I love that our school incorporates inclusion classrooms.
Right.
We're not just in a self-contained classroom.
Right.
Our special education students are out in those general ed classrooms getting that general ed instruction from those teachers. Ms. Stewart does a fantastic job making sure that our kids are in those classrooms receiving services from us as special education teachers, but they're getting that general education instruction.
Well, it's broadening their their
It
learning
is.
capabilities.
It is.
Yes.
With that. All right, we only have like a minute left, so we got game wise. We got game night.
We have game night. Go fish is a great fine motor skill, and
Okay.
it also teaches kids how to win and how to lose. And you have to be a good winner, and you also have to be a good
Ooh,
loser.
that's a tough one for the little ones.
It is a tough one. It's a tough one for the big ones too. Guess Who is another great game. It's a great questioning game. Learning to answer yes/no questions appropriately. Is your person a man?
Gotcha.
No, and knowing that means, okay, I've got to flip down all the males. Not
Okay.
just using the word man, male and female.
Right. So you're
Just
teaching their vocabulary.
exposing vocabulary
Yes.
words.
Why did you pick these two games? Is it because it's what you had at your house, or is it games that you have found the most success with? Which
I think Go Fish is probably the most successful game. But during the year, you'll find that your kids can answer these questions better. And it's so great to just start out with that higher order skill and bring them into it and teach small amounts of
building
that.
block.
Yes.
starting point. Gotcha.
Another last game,
Oh boy.
Jenga. And you can just use blocks, period, in your house. You don't have to have Jenga. Jenga's loud. Jenga, you take turns, and you're going to get mad if it falls. But it's just a great skill to teach
It
them.
is.
It's okay that it fell. We can play the game again.
We're not all engineers yet.
We're not. We're not.
Well, thank you all so much for coming in today. What a great lesson. And, you know, we always talk about the value of ECEC, and it's such a great, I always say it's my favorite school to go to. If you feel bad, you leave there feeling great.
I
And
agree.
so thank you all so much
Thank
for
you
taking
for
the
having
time.
us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday for Distance Learning 101. I'm Greg Ellis.